once worked with a client in wilderness therapy who I'll call Kelsey. Kelsey would self-harm. She would cut and scratch or bite at her arms and legs. But the interesting thing about her is that she would always wait until someone was watching before she would engage in self-harm. This self-harm was frightening, but it was also easy to get annoyed at her. Inexperienced staff would waffle between trying to convince her to stop and pleading with her and ignoring her while she hurt herself. And each of these interactions led to escalating patterns of increasingly severe self-injury. Now, most of us have had someone in our life who was attention-seeking. It's easy to get frustrated and annoyed at that behavior. It seems fake, it seems unfair to exaggerate one's emotions or to try to manipulate others' emotions to get them to give you attention. Our knee-jerk reaction when someone does something attention-seeking is to withhold attention, to ignore or to shut them down, to minimize their complaints or argue with them or debate with them. To tell them it's not as bad as they're making it out to be, or stop making a big deal. This is our reactive, impulsive, and unhelpful response. It always makes things worse because avoiding someone is going to trigger that need for attention and connection even more. If we really want to help someone who's attention-seeking, we need to be wise, subtle, and loving. We have to look beneath the surface behaviors and try to meet those deeper needs. If someone is being dramatic, overly emotional, or attention-seeking, we have two ways of seeing them. On the one hand, fake, obnoxious, hurtful, or bad, and on the other hand, hurting, lonely, lost. They don't know how to solve their problems or ask for help in a positive way, so they're seeking connection in the only way they know how. I actively choose to see these people the second way. People are genuinely good deep down. Perhaps they're doing things the wrong way, but that's not because they're trying to, it's because they don't know how, or what they've tried isn't working. If we see this person as genuinely hurting, as seeking connection, we bypass the obnoxious surface behaviors and look for a way to address the deeper behaviors and emotions. This is usually hardest with the people closest to you. Step 1. So if someone is engaging in attention-seeking behaviors, we need to be asking ourselves questions like, what are the deeper emotional conflicts going on? Or how can I meet that need without reinforcing the surface behavior? Notice how this response is actually looking for a solution to the problem instead of just suppressing behavior. With Kelsey, she was feeling lonely, overwhelmed, anxious about being away from her parents, and she didn't have any positive ways to work through her emotions. Step 2. Usually, a good response looks like having a minimal, barely more than neutral response to attention-seeking behaviors in the moment. So you acknowledge or gently shut down the negative behaviors. For example, Kelsey, I can see that you're hurting yourself. If you continue, we'll need to sit next to you and you'll have to wear gloves. The staff would sit next to her without paying her much attention. If she engaged in negative behaviors, they would calmly and dispassionately keep her safe until she got exhausted or bored of that behavior. Any other approach would have fed the behavior. Punishments would have made her anxious. Debating, convincing, or pleading would have rewarded that negative behavior with intensity. Restraining her would have just justified her feelings of lack of control. So the immediate response to the negative behaviors was to calmly keep her safe. Now, there were 2 times that we did have to restrain her. We had to physically hold her arms so that she wouldn't hurt herself in a severe way. But the rest of the time, we were actively working toward lasting solutions by minimizing the attention we gave to her negative behaviors and encouraging and rewarding the positive behaviors. That means waiting until her behaviors are neutral or positive, and then going in the back door to pump this person full of positive experiences. Give them positive attention whenever possible. Have positive and real interactions with them when they're not being dramatic. Ask clarifying questions. Spend time with them. Create a 5-to-1 ratio of positive interactions. So with Kelsey, that looked like waiting until she was calm and safe, and then asking her about her life, encouraging her to talk about her emotions, teaching her how to cook meals over the fire. It meant working hard to help her identify problems and find positive ways to solve them. She really liked doing crafts, so the staff would actively work on crafts with her, and while she was busy making something, she wasn't engaging in those negative behaviors. Within a couple of weeks, the self-harm and attention-seeking had completely died down. and she had learned half a dozen new ways to reach out for help and express emotions and manage her anxiety. Let me give you another example, this time in a family setting. If someone is being extra mopey and clingy during a large family gathering, give them just a little invite, like, "Hey Barb, want to join us?" Or go sit by them at lunch. You don't have to say much. And then look for opportunities when they aren't being mopey to invite them to do something fun, or sit down with them and ask them about their life. Try to model for them that you care, even when, and especially when, they're not being needy. I know this can be exhausting, and there are some exceptions to this, but as a general rule, this is the best way to respond to attention-seeking behavior. Your role does matter. Parents and spouses have much more responsibility to do this right than friends or coworkers do. So when facing attention-seeking behavior, don't do a knee-jerk reaction of avoidance or shutting them down. Instead, look for ways to intentionally and proactively meet the deeper needs by looking for ways to show them that you care when they're not being clingy. This video is an excerpt from my intensive course on how to help when someone you care about is depressed. This course has over 40 videos with specific skills that you can develop to be more helpful for the person you love. It includes how to help them open up and ways to help if they won't talk, what to do if they're suicidal, and specific strategies for managing your role. It includes helpful things you can say or do. If you're interested in watching the whole course, check it out on udemy.com.